Hey babes, it's Jenni Prokopy and you're here with me for another AWAP Wednesday. If you haven't seen any of these videos before, AWAP stands for As Well As Possible. And in all things chronic babe, I want you to do that. I want you to do the best that you can every day. Be AWAP. Okay, in my continuing quest for throat health, I recently had some steroid shots into my neck, which is kind of terrifying in the moment. My voice is still pretty scratchy and it might be for a couple more weeks, and I'm sorry about that, but I am doing the best I can. I am being AWAP. So thank you for your patience while I go through this little acute illness journey. I'm so acute. Okay, today's question comes from a fellow chronic babe as usual, and she has a question I think that pretty much all of us can relate to. Here's what she writes. I'm currently battling an undiagnosed chronic illness. I suffer from pretty much every symptom you can imagine, but my worst two would be chronic fatigue and muscle weakness. I'm really struggling. I'm only 22 and I feel so incompetent. I've always looked after people, been a high achiever and a go-getter. My illness has become so bad that recently I had to drop out of university. Currently, my partner supports me financially. I don't contribute a thing. Not to mention there are days when I struggle to even do the housework. My partner's a supportive, loving guy, but I can't help but feel so guilty for being such a burden. It's hard to see my purpose in life when I'm so restricted in what I can do. I feel like I have nothing to offer anyone. How can I see my worth? Sugar, I feel like I totally understand your question, and I have faced the same thing in my own journey with illness. I've gone through phases where I haven't been able to contribute financially or do chores or housework or any of the stuff that we traditionally associate with being a good partner when you live with someone. So I completely understand your question, and I know that many of the people watching this video are right there with you. But, and I like to say this a lot, and I hope you know that it comes from a place of love, guilt is for chumps. Guilt must be banished. So we're going to talk about a few ways you can do that. You know, many of us with chronic illness feel guilt. It is very natural for us to feel like a burden on the people who love us when we can't do what we used to be able to do. And we often associate our feeling of self-worth with quantifying these things that we do for other people, especially when we live with them or when we're in a deeper relationship with them, whether it's a very strong friendship or a romantic relationship or part of your family. But guilt makes all the struggle that we go through every day even harder. So I want you to start thinking about a few things that might help alleviate some of that guilt. Because you're not a burden. You're a human being and you're doing the best you can. So let's take a deeper look. The first thing I want you to do is remember that this is temporary. All things change. We're in a constant state of flux. So I know from experience that this must feel just like the most devastating thing. And I recognize that. I see that. I understand it. I also want you to think back a little bit to the time when you weren't sick and think about all the things that you liked to do and all the value that you brought to your relationships and all the things that you excelled at. And remember that there's a possibility that you'll get back there. There really is. It may not feel like it right now, but if you can try to consider the possibility that because we're all in a state of change and we're on this spectrum, that you might be able to get back there or get partway back there and be in a lot better shape than you are now. I don't want you to be a Pollyanna and be like, oh, everything's great, I'm fine, there's no problem. No, that's bullshit. That's not gonna help. It doesn't help anybody. But a little bit of hope and a little bit of looking at the potential for a positive future can take you a long way, especially on those worst days. Especially in Western culture, we derive a lot of our feelings of self-worth from what we contribute financially to our household. And this is not going to work for you right now. So I urge you to drop this unworkable paradigm from your mindset and start thinking about all the other things that you bring to this world. Are you a compassionate person? Are you patient? Are you kind? Are you thoughtful? Are you creative? Yes, I know you are. You wouldn't even be on this site. You wouldn't have written to me if you weren't. You've mentioned that you've always been a go-getter and a helper of people. Fantastic. I love it. That's a great foundation to work from. So even with your very limited time and energy and focus, I want you to try to think a little bit about some of those hobbies or interests or skills that you have. And they're not gone. They're just muted right now. They're not gone though. You still have them. You don't lose any of that when you get sick. It just gets crunched down a little bit. So I want you to think about those things and start looking for like an online group of people. Say you have a hobby, say you're a knitter. I want you to think about going online to a place like Ravelry.com and maybe spend 5 minutes a day or even 5 minutes a week answering someone's question or helping someone in some way with something that you know better than they do. That is a great way to derive a strong sense of self-worth when we're able to help people. And even if it's just a few minutes, you could totally make someone's day and feel like you've contributed, which is fantastic. So you mentioned that your partner is supporting you financially and that you can't contribute financially right now. I have so been there, and it is really, really difficult. It really shifts the balance in the relationship. But if you stay focused on that, that balance will stay shifted and it can really be detrimental. So I want to encourage you to start thinking about the other qualities and values you bring to that relationship. I'm sure your partner isn't with you just because you used to make money. I'm sure that you're a thoughtful, caring, compassionate person. Maybe you're a good listener. Maybe you're a creative problem solver. Maybe you're really awesome at keeping the place looking beautiful. Maybe you give great back rubs. I don't know. Think about all these things that you do contribute. I would make a list. I would write them all down and think about all the things that you do for your partner that aren't monetarily based and start focusing more on those things that you can contribute. I find that it's extremely important to focus on what I can do. It's really easy to get into this mindset of, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, because there are a ton of things that I can't do that I used to be able to do. But there's a ton of stuff that I still can do. And I have found that really focusing on that is key to keeping a positive mindset. The other thing that's really essential in relationships is communication and negotiating your needs and his needs or her needs, no matter who your partner is. So I got to tell you that even after 4+ years of being with the same awesome guy, we still need ongoing communication about what I'm able to do from day to day and what I need from day to day. And I need to know what he needs day to day and what he's able to do. By having an ongoing conversation, like you don't need to schedule some big dramatic, oh my God, we must talk thing, because that just adds a whole layer of emotional weight that we don't need. If you can continue an ongoing daily check-in kind of conversation, like in the morning, how you doing? I feel like this. Maybe I can get this done today. Maybe I can't. Maybe we can figure out a different way to do it. Maybe we can get somebody to help us. Have those little conversations day to day. It takes a lot of the heavy weight off of this challenge and makes it more of an ongoing negotiation, and then you really feel that deep partnership kicking in, and that is what is going to keep you guys strong. Last but not least, I want you to take it easy on yourself. You are an incredible person. You wouldn't be here asking me this question if you weren't a conscientious, caring, compassionate person. So give yourself a little break. You're really early into this process. You don't have a diagnosis yet. I just want you to know, coming from someone who's totally been there, it is going to get easier and you're going to figure out how to make this work. It is going to get better, I promise you, from one who knows. It gets easier, and you're doing the great work because you're learning right now. You're asking for help. You're learning how to do this better. And so I really applaud you. Okay, that's what I got for you today. I hope this has been helpful. I would really love to hear from all of you. Have you thought about how you derive your self-worth? Have you done any exercises like I've talked about today? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and how you figure out where your worth comes from if it's not monetarily or mopping the kitchen. Because there's so many other places we get it from, right? I want to know. I want to hear how you do it. So if you're not already on chronicbabe.com, hop over to the website and jump into the comments and tell us your story. It'll really help a lot of people. Did you like this video? I hope that if you do that you will like it wherever you are on social media and share it with your friends. You know, we're all over the internets. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, the website, we have a forum. We have all kinds of stuff to offer people. So the more you can share this with friends who might be in need, the better we all are as a community of women supporting each other. Thanks. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you, don't miss the chance to get all kinds of stuff like this in your inbox every week. Go to chronicbabe.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter. It's free, and when you subscribe, you get a big PDF toolkit from me on step-by-step how to get started as a chronic babe, all the things you need to know to just kick off your new life as an amazing lady, even if you're a sick chick. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with me today. Thanks for being patient with my raw throat. I really appreciate it. As always, I want you to go out there and just kick ass. Be AWAP. Mwah. Beep. You mentioned that you've always been a go-getter and a helper. You mentioned that you've always been a go-getter and a helper. I can't say helper.